all the way around on fuel. So I did a good job on saving fuel, which was cool. But man, so many of our partners, we've been working really hard at RCR.
Races. No wins. For the man who won 56 races at Joe Gibbs Racing across 15 years, who once had a driver rating peak of 109.3 in 2018, one of the best ever recorded in the modern era, 100 races without a victory, is not a slump. It is a verdict. And the timing could not be worse. Kyle Busch is in a contract year with Richard Childress Racing, sitting 27th in points through the early weeks of 2026. And the three most respected voices in NASCAR, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, and Dale Earnhardt Jr., are all saying the same thing publicly. This is ending. The question is where he lands next. To understand the full scope of what is happening, the timeline has to be laid out with precision. Busch departed Joe Gibbs Racing after the 2022 season, 15 years, 2 Cup Series championships, 56 wins, and joined Richard Childress Racing to drive the No. 8 Chevrolet. The early signs were encouraging. In 2023, he won 3 times in the first 16 races, including Auto Club Speedway. The narrative at that point was a comeback story. Then everything stopped. His last Cup Series win came at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway in June 2023. Since that date, 0 wins in 2024, 0 wins in 2025, and through the first stretch of 2026, still nothing. That is how the number reaches 100. Before this drought, his longest winless streak was 36 races in 2016 and 2017. That felt hard. This is incomprehensible. The 2026 numbers confirm the full picture. His average finish through the first 10 races of 2026 is 22.1, the worst start to any season of his 21-year Cup Series career. His adjusted points plus index stands at 63, and his average driver rating of 58.0 is a 51.3-point drop from his 2018 peak. According to NASCAR.com, among modern Cup drivers since 1972, only Dale Jarrett and Cale Yarborough suffered bigger driver rating fall-offs in the same length of time, and both were at the end of their careers. Busch has 0 top 5 finishes and just 1 top 10 in 2026, both the fewest of any season start across his entire career. April 19, 2026, at Kansas Speedway, 35th place, 4 laps down, bouncing off the wall. That was his worst finish of the season. With 27 laps remaining, dead last in the 37-car field, Hamlin's no. 11 Toyota was lapping him, and Busch made it as difficult as humanly possible, using his car as a roadblock. His own spotter Derek Nealand came over the radio, "I hear it. But let's be smart here. A 2-time Cup Series champion being lapped by a championship contender and choosing defiance." The post-race team statement confirmed the deeper problem. "We fired off tight, lacked turn, and battled right-side tire wear early on." Translation, the car was broken again, the same assessment Busch had already delivered openly over the radio at Las Vegas earlier in the season. Then came Martinsville, a loose tire rolling down pit road. NASCAR issued the no. 8 a penalty. Busch finished 24th, fuming over the radio about his rear brakes. More rear brake. "Give me F. Drive off. Let me drive the goddamn car." The fan reaction on social media was almost universally sympathetic. One comment circulated widely, "I have to hand it to RCR. They did the impossible. They made me feel bad for Kyle Busch." The same man fans spent years rooting against is now drawing sympathy from the same audience. This is the context in which Denny Hamlin broke what NASCAR insiders call the unwritten rule he told the truth on his Actions Detrimental podcast. He said, "So we just have to be honest about our expectations. And if you're expecting Kyle Busch to just go back to victory lane on a regular basis, you are kidding yourselves and you're going to be very disappointed." That quote spread across NASCAR social media immediately. Busch noticed, and before Saturday practice at Kansas fired back, "If Denny wants to switch cars, I'll switch cars with him any day of the week, anytime." The argument: it is the equipment, not the driver. The question that response raises is whether that is true, and if so, why RCR has not solved the equipment problem in 3+ years. Kevin Harvick, a former RCR driver who knows the organization from the inside, delivered a measured but direct verdict on his Happy Hour podcast. I think when you look at Kyle Busch, one of our sport's greatest drivers that we've ever seen behind the wheel, ever since halfway through that first year at RCR, it's slowly deteriorated. We all want to see hope for Kyle Busch. We want to see him in victory lane. We want to see RCR in victory lane, but they just don't have the speed. Then Harvick added the line that crystallized the stakes. This is a contract year for Kyle Busch, and I'm a little worried as to how this whole thing ends with Kyle Busch and RCR. A former RCR champion publicly saying the team has no speed is not a casual opinion. That is a diagnosis from someone who has been inside that building. Busch himself appeared on Harvick's podcast and said, "I haven't forgotten how to drive. I haven't forgotten what it takes to win at all of these different racetracks that we go to." The defensiveness of that statement, the fact that he feels the need to say it, publicly tells you the criticism has landed. Then came April 23rd, 2026, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. on his Dale Jr. Download podcast, dropping the biggest bombshell of the 2026 silly season. He said, my guess, if I had to predict what ends up happening, Kyle Busch ends up getting an opportunity that gets him back toward the front of the field. He added, but the time in the hourglass is running out, Father Time is undefeated and all that stuff, but I believe it happens and it could be next year. He's not got a long-term deal at RCR. That's the story moving forward. And that's what I believe happens in the summer. The destination Dale Jr. named, Spire Motorsports. A NASCAR Hall of Famer is publicly calling 2026 the last season of the Busch-RCR partnership and naming Spire the same organization Busch sold his Truck Series team to after 2023 and with whom he continues to race and win in trucks as the next stop. Inside RCR, the most concrete response has been a crew chief change. After 10 races with James Pullman on the box, the team announced Pullman was moving to a different position, and Andy Street, who served as Busch's crew chief at the end of 2025, would take over. The numbers support the move. Street produced a 15.8 average finish in those late 2025 races versus 18.3 in the No-8's other 2026 outings under Pullman. Austin Dillon noted that Street had shown his ability to work with Kyle and have some solid runs. Our car team president Jason addressed the internal environment directly. "I don't feel any panic. There's an urgency for sure." One of the guys in the shop came to me this week. "Hey dude, we'll do whatever. We'll stay late. We want to prove who we are as a company. When you think we're down, we're going to pop off a win and we're going to figure it out." Dillon also said, "I talked to Kyle and his next win is going to be the biggest of his career." I mean, if you think of it the right way, all the stuff that has been said and brought up over this year, and if he puts his head down and takes that team back to victory lane, that's going to be the biggest win of his career. Busch himself explained the technical problem with precision and media availability. "We're on a razor-thin margin of adjustment. When my car is tight during a race and I go to free it up, the next drive I can't drive it because I'm spinning out loose. We have to have some comfort in there where I can go tight or loose and still drive it. And it seems like with our cars, we make an adjustment, we don't make them improve from a handling standpoint." That is a driver with 63 career wins telling his engineers the car does not respond to adjustments the way it should. On the broader RCR partnership, he said, "It's frustrating because I feel like I've done nothing except positive things in the time in which I've been at RCR. The last 4 years, I've done nothing but work as hard as I could possibly do." He then added the line that carries the most weight, "It's just not quite come together with the results of winning." That is not the language of a driver who believes a breakthrough is imminent. The 5 paths forward for 2027 are now actively discussed across the garage. Staying at RCR requires a dramatic late-season turnaround. The crew chief change to Street and the first top 10 at Talladega provide a small glimmer. Spire Motorsports, Dale Jr., as named destination, offers history, trust, and a platform to build toward the future where Busch has openly said he wants to race trucks alongside his son Brexton when his son turns 16 6 years from now. Hendrick Motorsports represents the shocking option. Busch began his Cup career there over 20 years ago, and HendrickCars.com has been sponsoring him in the Truck Series. Legacy Motor Club, backed by Jimmy Johnson and Richard Petty, represents the storyline, and stepping back toward the Craftsman Truck Series, where the Atlanta win in Week 2 of 2026 proved the speed is still there remains the option nobody wants to say out loud. Before the Daytona 500, Busch addressed retirement directly. "I don't feel like I'm at the age to hang it up. I'm not done yet. There's plenty more to do. I'm at the age where there's still more championships available." Bob Pockras of Fox Sports reported in January that more than 20 drivers are entering contract years in 2026, and the 2026 silly season, compounded by Dodge entering Cup in 2027 and the pending 23XI/Front Row Motorsports lawsuit, is expected to be the most active driver movement period in modern NASCAR history. Kyle Busch is at the center of it, and the only question remaining is which Sunday in 2026 becomes the moment the RSCAR partnership officially ended.